Hi everyone, Heather Lisle here. Today is part 3 of getting more crap done, making a plan. So the great Yogi Berra, if you don't know where you're going to end up someplace else. And isn't that the truth? So that's why today we're going to be talking about making a plan and why they're important. But first, I want to talk about my littlest guy, Vance. So he is a Lego freak. Like, it's the only thing that will keep him occupied other than playing with a football afternoon. So the kid loves Legos. Anyway, sometimes I work with him playing with his Legos, but most of the time he just kind of likes to create his own creations, and it's kind of his quiet space and what he likes to do. But I was just watching him, and I know life gets crazy and we want to use Legos as a babysitter sometimes, but I'm telling you, take a look, watch your kid play Legos. It's really kind of fascinating. For Vance, he will set out all of his Legos on the table and he'll start grouping them, based on whatever the thing is on the package that he wants to make. And he'll pull out the instructions and he'll start grouping little, pieces that will make the whole item. And he'll start making one little piece at a time until the whole project is complete. And it just lights my heart on fire seeing that he pays such great attention to the Lego designs and plans, and he has a plan for accomplishing the goal of making the big project. So whether you're a 7-year-old Lego guy or a 44-year-old working mom like I am, having a roadmap and a few instructions along the way really helps our life stay on point and on purpose. So here's the deal. When it comes to getting crap done, you have got to have a plan, y'all. Otherwise, you just spend time wandering around aimlessly with really no end destination in sight. So, I was wondering the other day, why is it that we spend more time planning our Halloween costumes and family vacations, but don't really have a plan for our life or work or, certain projects that we're working on? And I get it. It all seems like super daunting. And I think there's a lot of fear involved with holding yourself accountable. Because let's face it, when you talk about plans, you're talking about accountability too, and that can be a little uncomfortable. So here's my thing. Get a little comfortable with being uncomfortable. Making a plan will help you clarify and identify your priorities, and you'll spend time on those things that really do move your needle. And once you've identified those priorities, and I've had a lot of experience in this and a lot of screw ups in life too. But once you've identified those priorities, it's a heck of a lot easier to know what to say no to. In other words, you say yes to the things that align to your priorities and no to the things that don't. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Last week, I was talking about how purpose is the antidote for distraction. And this week, I want to give you a few thoughts that'll help you develop plans, whether it be at work or in life in general, or certain projects or initiatives or whatnot. But I'm going to be talking about SMART goals. And I know some of my educator nonprofit friends are shaking their heads going, yes, we have heard of this. But whether you need a refresher or don't even know what SMART goals are, I'm going to go over it quickly with you today. So here's the deal. SMART, it's an acronym. SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable or achievable, relevant, and time-bound, time-sensitive. So let's start with S. Be specific with your goals. If you're going to plan a large event, be specific with what exactly you want that end outcome to look like. Be specific on your audience. Who needs to be there? If you're trying to serve everybody, you're going to serve no one, y'all. Be specific on what it is that you want those key deliverables, key takeaways to be. Where is this going to take place? Those are the questions that you're going to answer when you're talking about being specific. M, it's important to measure your goals. This is a big one for those of you who are managing teams as well. It's critically important to have checkpoints along the way and be accountable to those checkpoints to ensure that your team understands what needs to have happen in order to actually achieve the end completion, target date. But here's the thing about measurements in general. Make sure that you are crystal clear on your purpose so your measurements align to that. I do believe in the concept of keeping things very simple. Collecting too many data points distracts you from your purpose. I've worked with organizations that have collected so much data that is just like brain dump overload, and everybody sits at the table going, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. So I found this great quote from Albert Einstein. If you can't explain it simply, You don't understand it well enough. And the same thing holds true for our data collection and measurement goals. If you don't understand your purpose well enough, you're going to struggle really hard figuring out how to align what to measure as well too. So, A, keep your goals actionable and achievable. This is the time to get real, y'all. Setting outlandish goals, well, it's just kind of dumb, and it kills productivity, and it kills the motivation to want to achieve the goal in the first place if they're so outlandish. So this is a really good time to bring in your team and talk to them. If you haven't already, talk to them about what needs to happen in order to achieve this goal. What steps need to have happen, what actions need to take place. We need to talk about the how of making a plan and setting goals. How are you going to accomplish this goal? What steps are needed? So think about it and get realistic too. So R stands for relevant. Last week I talked about in a past life, I was the executive director of a small nonprofit, and we had a board chair, who had great intentions, great heart, but tended to chase the shiny things is what I called it. We had new donor dollars. This new donor wanted us to come up with a new program. The new program, we didn't have the human capacity to do it, nor the additional revenue and dollars to be able to implement it. And so it really didn't align to our organization's mission at the time either. So it wasn't relevant. We parked that idea until we were at a point in time where we could be relevant. So T is time sensitive or time bound. Every goal needs to have some sort of target for completion. That being said, I do believe that any plan, you've got to allow for some flexibility because things change and throw us off course sometimes. But you've got to balance a few things here too. So in order to keep your plan a priority, you must identify the timeframes, but you also got to be mindful. You got to do this delicate balance of being mindful about how often you might move that target date, because if you move it too often, you're signaling to your team that that priority is not important. So I look at project completions from two different lenses, from hard and soft deadlines. Since most of us are working with other people, I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or someone who's managing 50 people, you're working with others, we are oftentimes waiting on others to complete their part of the project, right? So set a soft deadline that gives you a little wiggle room in the event that you need to make some adjustments. And those hard deadlines are just that. It's a hard deadline. Stick to it. That's when the project needs to be complete. Planning really does kind of light my heart on fire, y'all, if you haven't figured this out by now. Over the past couple of months, I've shared with you a lot of information, and I hope that you're getting something out of it. And if you are, and you might want me to come work with your team or whatnot, DM me or shoot me an email, and I'd love to talk. Anyway, thank you so much. And again, I'm so very grateful for you all joining me today, and I look forward to talking with you again next week. Thanks.